Welcome back, Life Sciences. I hope you had a short little break, had a little bit of sip of water, stretched the legs, right, and just looked over all the notes that we've done. Let's just quickly recap what we're looking at. We're starting off the section of microorganisms, and today we looked at viruses. All right, acellular organisms that are pathogenic, they cause disease. We looked at the structure of a virus. We know briefly a little bit of how the virus, all right, works, how it replicates inside a cell. And we also looked at different viral diseases. Emphasis on what was the effect on the body, right, and how we were going to manage it. Now we're going to look at a few questions that can be asked on this section. Very often the questions are what we call source-based. We're often going to give you a reading piece. It could be a virus that you are familiar with, or it could be a virus that you might not necessarily are familiar with, but you need to understand if it's a virus, then I can understand I can't treat it with antibiotics. I need a vaccine, etc. What is the virus going to do? So if you understand those basic concepts, any piece that your teacher might give you or you might be asked, you will then be able to relate to what you know about viruses. Okay, so the first question that we're going to get to is a reading piece. Okay. Oh, we're going to do multiple choice first, then we're going to get the reading piece. I'm like so excited, I just need to get to that reading piece. All right, guys, first question over here is the bacteriophage. All right, now if you remember, I showed you what a bacteriophage looked like earlier. And the multiple choice question is, what are they? So, is it bacteria used in biotechnology? Now remember what I said to you. The words get you very confused. A bacteriophage is a virus that attacks bacteria. So we're looking for something about a virus. So let me have a look here. Bacteria use, it's not bacteria, so that word alone, we stop it. Symbiotic viruses in the gut? No, they don't. Symbiotic means a relationship, and viruses, they are not good at all. Right, viruses that reproduce in bacteria. So I've got the virus, I've got the bacteria. That sounds like it could be correct. But I'm still going to quickly check the bottom one. Bacteria that live in nodules. And as soon as I see the word bacteria, I know I should be really good and read the rest of the sentence, but I've said to myself it's a virus, so it can't be. So my choice in answer is going to be number C. Okay, the next multiple choice question. Viruses usually consist of, or viruses consist essentially of. All right, so where do we go? We have a capsule, we have genetic material, and maybe we have those spikes, because that's what my head is saying. I've done the structure, let me see what fits. Okay, number A, a mass of cellular cytoplasm. Sure, I see cytoplasm, can't be, because only living cells have cytoplasm. So I'm going to put a cross there. A chlorophyll containing chloroplast, heck no. Why I can't? Because I know that's plants, and this is definitely not a plant cell. So I'm going to put a cross there. A cell membrane enclosing a mass of carbohydrates can't be. Cell membrane is living. Carbohydrates are found in living. Definitely can't. So I'm hoping that it's going to be number D. A piece of nucleic acid, yes, surrounded by a protein coat. There we go. Both of the criteria, D is going to be the correct answer. Okay, so process of elimination, guys. Okay, so our next piece is going to be the reading piece. Now, our reading piece, you need to look at what is given to you, because the answers, all right, are going to be in the text. Sometimes you might need to, all right, use what you know about viruses, but the answers are going to be in the text. So you need to be able to read the questions and the text carefully. All right. Okay, so guys, oopsie daisy, me and my pen are going nice and, okay, so it's all about Ebola. So let's read it. It says, Ebola is a rare but often deadly disease caused by a virus. That's important because how do we treat viruses, etc.? Ebola is spread by people, by contact with the skin, or body fluids or infected animals, like fruit bats and chimpanzees. It then moves from person to person in the same way. Other ways to get Ebola include touching materials or surfaces that have been contaminated by infected body fluids. Okay, so here we have an idea. This is all, how do I get it? The next one, right, early symptoms. What does symptoms tell me? That's the effect. Okay, the effect are like the flu. Now I know we did the flu, so I know that runny nose, temperature, etc., that is all going to have, all right, coughing, those are all things of the flu. Now, as the infection gets worse, so it's okay, as it carries on, it causes bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose. All right, that's why it's sometimes called hemorrhagic fever, because you hemorrhage, you bleed. Some people will vomit or cough up blood and have bloody diarrhea and get a rash. That's when you've got an upset stomach. All right, so here, where did I get it? This one, what does it do to me? Effects. All right, can you see where we're going with this? Ebola is treated by managing the symptoms of the disease. Right, we can't cure it with rehydration fluids, oxygen, blood pressure medication, and blood transfusion. So putting other people's blood in you. What is this? Management. Okay, so you see, we've used those principles that we used when we looked at either HIV, flu, right, or rabies, and we're now looking at this piece. Ebola kills up to 90% of people infected. There is no proven cure. So now we've put everything in. Now we go ready to answer the questions. Okay, the first question. List 3. If it's in capital letters, I only want 3. I don't want more because your marker's going to say first 3 only. List 3 symptoms that people might show if they have a very serious infection. So it's telling me I must go and look what happens in worst case scenario. So I'm going to go back to our piece over here. Okay, and now I'm going to change the color because this is the answer I want. Right, so I'm going to look in worst case scenario. Look here. As the infection gets worse, it causes bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose. 1. Vomit, cough, blood. 2. And have bloody diarrhea. 3. And get a rash. 4. Right. So there are 4 answers to that question in the text. It asked you for 3. Right? So you take those 3, there they are, I've put them in red. Bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose is 1. Right? Vomiting or coughing up blood is 1. So that's your second point. Bloody diarrhea is 3, and a rash is 4. The question said worse. Okay, so there you've got your 3 marks, all of it from the text. Okay, let's look at the next question. Okay. Question states, state why antibiotics cannot be used against Ebola. Now we know, we shouldn't even go to the text here, right? You should know immediately, antibiotics can only work on living things, right? So why? The answer is, will it work here? My answer is no. And why do I know? Answer no. I want you to go back here because it's a virus. And viruses cannot. State why antibiotics cannot be used. Viruses are non-living, or you could have said acellular, and cannot be destroyed, or you can say cured, or you could even say killed. It's only for 1 mark. Right. So you need to understand the concept. Antibiotics do not work for viruses. Nice, easy question there. Right, next question. This is quite a challenging question. It says, explain why blood pressure, and let's look at the question. Explain why blood pressure medication may be used as a symptomatic treatment. Okay, now what does symptomatic means? Look at the symptoms. What have you got? All right, so the problem is you are bleeding. So you are losing a lot of blood. So why would you use blood pressure medicine? This answer is not in the text. This answer, all right, you need to think about it. Okay, so let's have a look at our text. I'm going to go back. All right, I'm going to use this one. Have a look here. Okay, so this is what they're asking us. Why can we use blood pressure medicine? Now, if I lower my blood pressure, what will I slow down? The bleeding. Okay, so I take blood pressure to lower how hard my blood is pumping through my body. I lower it down and I'm not going to bleed as much. Okay, can't cure it, so I need to treat the symptoms. Okay, so that you had to think a little bit. That was quite a challenging question. The next question is also quite a challenging question, but the answer here is in the text. Okay, let's read the question. It says, although Ebola is not classified as a sexually transmitted disease, all right? It says it doesn't count as an STI. It can be transmitted by sexual intercourse, all right? So you provide evidence from the passage. If it asks you to provide evidence from the passage, go and quote from the passage, okay? So it's not typically a sexually transmitted disease, but how can we transmit it sexually? So let's go and have a look, right, at our reading. Now let's have a look. Sex involves body fluids. The swapping of body fluids. So what are you looking through here? Okay, you are going to have a look. There we go. Okay, so let's look here. Ebola is spread to people by contact with skin or body fluids of infected animals. That we don't want, all right? Like fruit bats, that's obviously when you eat them. Other ways to get Ebola include touching materials or surfaces that have been contaminated by body fluids. That's what you're looking. What does sexual intercourse involve? Swapping of body fluids. So if one of the partners does have Ebola, right, during sexual intercourse, what are we going to swap? We're going to swap body fluids, and therefore the virus can be transmitted from one individual to the next. Okay, so the last two questions, quite more challenging. You have to read into things, so it can be quite difficult, but the first two questions you should have been able, right, to answer quite easily. Okay, guys, we're going to go on to a next question. Right, it's also pretty much, right, just giving you a scenario. I want to read through it with you, and then you'll understand. Okay, so in an investigation, right, conducted by a group of scientists to investigate the presence of the coronavirus. Okay, so we're going to see how do we know that the coronavirus is present. Okay, in body fluids from people who are suspected to have the virus. Fluids from 3 people, A, B, and C, are suspected to have the viruses collected. All right, so we have A, B, C, and we've got their body fluids right, in each, say we put them in each of the test tubes. Okay, now what we do is, the samples are incubated. What does incubated mean? They're kept at a very specific temperature of 37 degrees. And I see 37 and I say to myself, hey, 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 that is body temperature. That must be, because how a virus is going to work, they're in your body at your temperature. So what I'm going to do, all of those, 37 degrees, right, for 2 days. Okay, there we go, 2 days. So all of them, here's the fluid, I incubate them. Okay, so if I incubate it, I'm trying to let the virus grow to see, not grow, to let it see if it reproduces, so if it's present. Okay, now what I do is, a chemical indicator was used, so I'm going to put a chemical in, right, in each of them, okay. A chemical indicator was used to determine the presence of the virus or not. Now, most important, if the chemical indicator changes from red, so it's red, right? So we want from red, they are red, to a cloudy yellow, right? If it goes to yellow, then we know that the virus is going to be present. So let's have a look at this table. Right, red, red to yellow, red to yellow. And my question to you very simply is, which person has the coronavirus? I go back to my table. What was the only person to change color? Sample number B. And why did I know that? Because it changed from red to a cloudy yellow. Well, guys, that's all for us from today. I hope you learned something from all of this. Have a good time. See you next time.